This anime opens by showing a live broadcast from YouTube, which we usually call YouTube. Then the scene shows a high school student YouTuber named Paco, who has 700,000 subscribers. Because it has reached 700,000 subscribers, Paco wants to celebrate this achievement on its own YouTube channel. Then Paco invited a cute girl named Yorumi to collaborate, a beginner YouTuber who has a subscription under Paco. Yorumi then explained the contents of the beauty content on her YouTube channel, and that she had prepared a special model for Paco. After that, they introduced a special model that had been prepared named Yuhoben. In Yuhoben's heart, he was grumbling why Paco didn't share the profits even though he was always the model for Paco's content itself. Next, Paco asked Kaneko, his cameraman, to start recording the live stream. Seeing Yuhoben's always sullen face, Paco forced him to smile in front of the camera.
モデルも用意したんですよね。はい、
私が一生懸命です。
どいつも利用するんだったら俺にも収益を。
志村、笑顔でな。押してくれた方の中から。
全部やらせなくせに。
After finishing the live streaming, Yuhoben went to the bathroom to remove his makeup, but it turned out that he had a very difficult time removing his makeup. While removing the makeup on his face, Yuhoben questioned himself why he never stood up to the bullying that happened to him. He was very annoyed, because Paco was usually called a school thug, but it was very easy for him to make a profit on the internet. Even Yorumi only has 5,000 subscribers, but because she has a beautiful face and a nice body, Yorumi is just waiting to be famous. Different from his two friends, Yuhoben doesn't have anything special. After that, Yuhoben intended to return to class. But suddenly, Kaneko quickly started bullying Yuhoben, who was also Paco's cameraman. Yuhoben, who has experienced a lot of bullying from several school thugs like Paco, feels that Kaneko is nothing compared to all of them. Always hiding behind other people, his cowardly nature is hidden by his circle, so that Kaneko can feel safe even though he gets goosebumps when he sees the expression on Yuhoben's face. Long story short, Yuhoben was surprised when he heard that Yorumi could make 30,000 yen, just with the short livestream he did earlier. Paco, who asked for reciprocity, was seen only promised by Yorumi to wait for a gift from him. Coincidentally, Yuhoben and Kaneko had the same thoughts. Unlike Yuhoben, who couldn't do anything or get information on how to become a YouTuber, Kaneko could casually ask Paco directly. Fortunately, Paco did not prevent the cameraman's actions and informed him that minors could not earn income. Therefore, he needs his parents so that his income can be dispersed. Hearing this, Kaneko, who had already stolen his parents' money, was sure he would not be allowed to use it. Therefore, Kaneko asked Yuhoben to give his mother's account in a disrespectful way. What's worse, Yuhoben's mother is sick and lying in the hospital. Even though he was very annoyed by the words of the two bullies, Yuhoben couldn't do anything and could only hold back his emotions, because he knew he would suffer the ending if he was determined to fight back. The scene then shifts to the hospital. After visiting the mother who was trying to be strong in front of her child, the mother was worried about her son who had bruises on his face. But Yuhoben immediately calmed him down and told him that he wouldn't fight at all. This is the life of Yuhoben, who has to work part-time at Metsudi for 1 week in order to earn 30,000 yen like Paco and Yorumi do. Apart from caring for his mother, he still has many needs that he has to take care of as an only child. Then came a cute girl named Asamiya Kaho. Yuhoben, who saw Asamiya's face, immediately liked her.
志村くん。
まだいるじゃないか。朝宮かほ。冷蔵庫の中にあるから。
わかった。ありがとう。
俺が持ってくるよ。
朝宮と喋っちゃった。うちの店のアイドル。
いらっしゃいませ。
見ているだけで幸せ。
Just chatting with Asamiya, suddenly Paco came and gave Asamiya a challenge. Where Paco explained that his audience asked him to give a challenge to Asamiya, where he gave a challenge to make the burger on the poster, and he had to make it in just 30 seconds. If Asamiya failed to do so, then he had to give Paco his telephone number. In the midst of the confusion, Asamiya couldn't do anything, and the employees there couldn't do anything either. But suddenly, Yuhoben quickly completed his challenge and threw Paco out of the place. Amid other employees who admired his heroic actions, Yuhoben could guess that tomorrow he would be battered by Paco. That night, Yuhoben was seen cursing himself for letting Kaneko live stream at his house. In the middle of Kaneko carrying out his live streaming, he received a challenge from his viewers where if he killed 30 other players he would get 30,000 yen. Because he was secretly annoyed, Yuhoben spat at Kaneko's ramen. He was even very annoyed because Kaneko used his computer to live stream and Yuhoben's YouTube account was also used by Kaneko. When Yuhoben wanted to deliver the ramen he had spat on, he suddenly slipped and the ramen he was holding was thrown at Kaneko. Because of Yuhoben's actions, Kaneko's live stream was destroyed, even though he only had 1 kill left to get 30,000 yen. Kaneko, who was annoyed, then tortured Yuhoben while uttering very cruel words. He even degraded Yuhoben's mother. Hearing that, Yuhobin couldn't hold back his emotions, and the two of them fought with each other.
ごめん引っかかってんだよって映画代わり払えやそんなんだからんだよ初めて突き上げた拳
After Kaneko left Yuhobin's house, he decided to rest and turn off his computer so he could save money on the bill. The next day, without them realizing it, Yuhobin just accidentally unplugged the monitor cable, while the live stream and other cable connections were still plugged in. Kaneko also asked Yuhobin to delete the live stream, because it turned out that yesterday's live stream had spread throughout the world. Then Yuhobin explained to him that he never uploaded it on YouTube. Then Kaneko told him that the live stream would be uploaded automatically when the computer went offline. Even though he wanted to delete his live stream, because his YouTube account was using his mother's Yuhobi account, he couldn't log in to delete it. After hearing this, Yuhobin then checked one of the comments on his account, which informed him that the video could be cashed out at a nominal value of 0.1 yen per one view, and the total audience for the Yuhobin versus Kaneko video just now was 10 million viewers. On the same day, we are shown the difference felt by Yuhobin and Kaneko. Because the video has gone viral, he is now the subject of bullying in class. Even when he wanted to pick a fight with his classmate, he actually got hit by his classmate. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Yuhobin was seen who was shocked that he had to pay 120,000 yen for his mother's treatment. Yuhobin's worry about his viral video immediately disappeared, because the amount he could get could be said to be worth it for the virality. However, not long after, Kaneko came and started fighting with Yuhobin, because he felt that his throne as a strategist and YouTube cameraman like Paco had now been completely destroyed, and he didn't even get anything from the video. In the afternoon, Yuhobin comforts Kaneko after fighting with him. However, when Yuhobin still didn't want to give Kaneko a little of his money, suddenly Kaneko secretly recorded the fight this afternoon. In order to restore his destroyed throne, Kaneko intends to work with Yuhobin, which might be a long-term investment for him. However, after Kaneko explained how difficult it is to have a YouTube account, both in terms of the account and the content and other creation processes. With great confidence, he thought Yuhobin would fall into his slavery trap, especially when he saw Yuhobin, who he thought wanted to shake hands with him. He then explained the results of the distribution, which for Kaneko was 90% and for Yuhobin only 10%. But luckily Yuhobin wasn't stupid, and Kaneko didn't expect to be rejected by him. When Yuhobin wanted to leave, Kaneko, who didn't want to lose one of the opportunities to get back on his feet, made an offer to share their earnings with him. From initially 10% for Yuhobin and 90% for Kaneko, it is now 90% for Yuhobin and 10% for Yuhobin and 10% for Kaneko. This is episode 2 of the anime Kenka Dokugaku, or viral hit. The next day, Paco started his live stream and informed the audience that 2 of his classmates were going viral. When Kaneko urged Hobin to quickly launch their action, Hobin seemed to be looking for an opportunity, and when he heard Paco announce a computer giveaway for one lucky person. In the middle of Hobin continuing to bombard Paco's live with the facts of his bullying, people were seen starting to crowd around, and a curious girl tried to see them. But unfortunately, even though initially everything was still as planned, Paco suddenly laughed and was grateful because the cell phone he used for the live had died because it ran out of battery. In the midst of the bullying carried out by Paco, Kaneko has intelligently anticipated this and continues to increase the viewers and subscribers that both of them have. All the viewers who watched the live really couldn't believe that a YouTuber with 700,000 subscribers was a trash collector like that. Seeing Hobin's burning eyes, Kaneko was shocked and couldn't believe it, because Hobin dared to take a stance against Paco. Even though their bodies are very different in size, Hobin remains determined to rise from adversity. Hobin thought that someone would help separate the two of them, but it turned out that everyone was afraid or didn't want to interfere in their business. This is different from Paco, who has a very large body, very scary eyes, muscles and tattoos, while Hobin only has strong willpower and is physically weak. In the middle of Hobin, thinking about using a technique he saw in a Western film, his emotions suddenly peaked when Paco insinuated that Hobin's mother had cancer and could only lie in the hospital. Hobin didn't accept it when Paco looked down on his mother and made him attack Paco without thinking.
調子のだからてめえの母親もおいまだ生きてんの存命ですかって
家族侮辱者が俺の戦いの始まりだった
After Hobin was slammed by Paco, he was shocked that a weight difference would have such an effect. He felt that his previous fight with Kaneko was just a joke between two comedians. while Hoban thought everything was finished. Unfortunately here Paco wasn't satisfied with just slamming Hoban once. Immediately, Hoban and Kaneko's live channel viewers immediately exploded when they saw a young MMA athlete named Kim Moong-sung, felt afraid of the MMA superstar Paco, and then immediately left. After everything calmed down, Kaneko praised Hoban because even though he lost, he still had several fans who admired him. In the evening, Paco felt grateful because the cell phone he was using had run out of battery. However, he was very surprised when he opened his cell phone. There were lots of notifications, and when he read them, Paco started to feel worried. Meanwhile, Hoban is taking a shower and feels like he has become a cool figure. The point is that, since the live bullying, in just a short time, Paco's content, which turned out to be a bully, has now gone viral. Here we are also shown the possibilities that occur in our real world. When someone makes a mistake, they will make a clarification. Now all Paco content has been labeled as a lie, and what's worse is that there is one netizen who even created a countdown site for the current number of Paco subscribers. From the initial 700,000 subscribers, there are now only 400,000 subscribers. Long story short, after Kaneko gave him praise, he also asked him to learn to fight. Because if the video exceeds 3 minutes, they will get more money. Hearing this suggestion, Hoban immediately searched the internet for ways to fight. But unfortunately, when he searched on Gologolo and YouTube, everything was very difficult for him to imitate. Until one moment, where Hoban made a mistake in typing what should have been an autodactic fight, instead it became an orthodactic fight. Without Hoban realizing it, he found a channel called Dokugaku Kenka, which had 0 subscribers. Hoban thought the channel was just abandoned by the owner, but it turned out that the channel had uploaded lots of videos. After Hoban decided to watch one of the videos, a masked macho man appeared there. For a short time, Hoban was seen listening to the tutorial from the man in the mask carefully. The man in the mask told him that you should not even get carried away by emotions, because if you get carried away by emotions, it is not venting your fists, but just venting your emotions. In other words, you have to be calm so you can dodge and think about your next move. And if your opponent is carried away by emotions, then you will gain an advantage from the fight. Then the masked man told him about techniques on how to avoid getting hurt when hit. Hoban immediately decided to stop watching that channel. He felt that the channel was only uploading hoax videos, so he could lure viewers and also earn some money. After that, Hoban was seen going to Mesidi deciding to quit his job so he could focus more on managing his channel. At the same time, Asamiya heard several female employees about Hoban wanting to quit and decided to approach Hoban, who was still being scolded by the MCD manager.
だからありがとう。LINE 交換しない？
朝見ゆっちゃ。
LINE するね。交換しない？
The scene then moves to school. Hoban is seen very happy because he has the Asamiya line. But not long after, Kaneko stopped his fun and asked Hoban's opinion, who has now reached 100,000 subscribers. Then Kaneko was very annoyed because Hoban, who had not thought of a way to survive for 3 minutes while fighting. Even though Hoban talked about YouTubers not always being above, he immediately changed his mind as soon as Rumi came over to him. Kaneko and Hoban initially suspected Rumi of previously siding with Paco, but they were immediately convinced by him that his viewers asked him to go live with Hoban. While they were chatting, Paco suddenly came and asked Hoban to take responsibility for destroying his channel. This is where Hoban felt strange because the channel's words from the masked man could be implemented by him now. Because of the masked man's words, Hoban is now able to avoid Paco's blows and intends to move on to the next step to use the technique that doesn't hurt when hit. But unfortunately, very quickly Kaneko didn't want to waste the opportunity to further bring down Paco and introduce their channel together. By threatening to use the video he had just recorded, Paco vowed to take revenge on the 3 people. The next day, Hoban was seen waiting for Kaneko in the city center to talk about their next content. However, when Hoban was just about to call Asamiya, suddenly 2 people who claimed to be Hoban's fans approached and made Hoban surprised by the power of YouTubers to make people famous. Hoban is still innocent and doesn't suspect the 2 of them, even though what they both ask is the amount of AdSense he got. In the middle of Hoban being beaten by the 2 thugs, Kaneko suddenly arrives with the intention of saving Hoban, but unfortunately Kaneko suddenly fell down with just 1 punch. Then the thug took Hoban's cell phone as collateral so he wouldn't call the police, even though the thug's aim was only to try to loot Hoban's things. Instead of prioritizing the main folder or email for his channel, Hoban prioritized Asamiya's number because he couldn't contact him anymore. Kaneko's newest model cell phone, which Kaneko wants to use as a sacrifice, wakes up Kaneko and tells him to go after the 2 people. Because apparently from the start, Kaneko had been doing live streams secretly, Hoban was also lured by the number of viewers and the amount of income that awaited them after the live stream ended. This is the end of Kenka Dokugaku episode 1 and 2. Thank you very much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you up to date with our latest content. See you in the next video.